Good morning, everybody. This is Catherine, your Invisible Money Queen, and I am greeting you this morning on a beautiful day. The sun is shining today. We have a blue sky, which is nice. It's been a little overcast. We have some fires in our area, and we can be hazy because of the smoke. And so it's just a constant reminder of just stay in prayer and not be too self-absorbed, because people are going through a lot of hard times. And so as you wake up and you can just refresh yourself and have one or two good things to think about as you start your day, I think that we all joined in that intention. We can make a difference. So anyway, as we get started today, I want to work specifically on a question that I got from one of the people that come to me for manifestation help. One of the things I'm most passionate about is when you're waiting for something and you can't figure out why. You're wanting something to show up, so you're doing processes, perhaps you're reading books on manifesting, and you're frustrated because what you want is not showing up. And then I had been talking in some past trainings about the idea of a core desire and a formed desire. And you're going to hear me repeating that a lot because it's what I'm explaining to person after person when you're trying to figure out if what it is you're manifesting is really to your best and your highest good. And not only is it for your highest good, but the people that you're involved with, that it's for their highest good too, that what you're wanting to manifest has a positive impact, a ripple effect, not only in your life, but going forward, okay? So when, for today's example, and I'm trying hard to stay within my 30 minutes, and I can already tell I'm talking too fast, so I'm going to sip a little water here, because your time is valuable. But I've invited Claudette to sit in with me today because she is looking for a new position. And we've known each other a few weeks now, and we've done quite a bit of tapping, and we've removed a lot of blocks that have been interrupting Claudette's self-confidence, is the way I've seen it. Because as I've worked with her for a few weeks, I've seen her self-confidence rise, and she has to go through her thing. She has to do her life. I look at myself, an EFT energy tapping practitioner. What I do is to carry the tools, the spiritual or the energetic tools for people that can't find the way to get to that next step. So I know how to do tapping, I know how to journal, I know how to communicate, and I can teach things. I can carry that equipment, but Claudette has to do the work. She has to go out there and meet the people. She has to find a way to present herself calmly in an interview. I can't do any of that for her. I wish I could stand behind her and be able to put my hand on her back so she knows someone has her back. But that doesn't work out. And so that's why I want to equip all of you with this kind of process. Now, if you are not looking for a job, let's say you're looking to hire someone, that you want to hire somebody great, you can use the exact formula, because what we're going to do is we're going to list what I call the suboptimal about any choice that you're looking at. So you're moving, so you're going to leave your current home. You're looking at a new job, so you're going to leave your current job. You're looking for a new best friend, you're going to leave your current best friend. Whatever it is, the transition that this process is good for, it's what I call the optimal intention building process, is good for anything like that. So Claudette, welcome Claudette.
Thank you.
Can you hear?
Thank you very
good.
much.
Yes, you're here. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And what we want to do always is to affirm that we're not going to let any private information. We don't need to know anything about what the specifics of your particular situation. And I will help you by guiding, because some of the frustrations that you're experiencing with your current position is probably in common with a few other professions. So please feel free to not answer or to ask me to phrase something differently, okay, Claudette? Because your privacy is important.
Okay.
Excellent. All right, good. And then if you could speak up just a tiny bit, I mean a little bit of, oh, wait, let me turn up my volume. That would be helpful. Okay, I think you're fine. Okay, so.
All right. Can you hear me better?
Beautiful. Oh, yeah, that's beautiful.
Okay.
All right, so you're looking for a new position. So how long have you been in the current situation you're in right now? First of all, how long have you been where you're working now?
I have been in my current position 10 years.
All right. And so you're looking for a position. Are you looking to leave your company, or are you looking for a transfer within your company that would offer better benefits?
A transfer within the company that would allow me to do something different.
Okay, good. All right, as you guys are listening, and that's what we're doing. We're working with someone who is looking to work within the same organization and have some sort of a promotion or transfer that would give her the opportunity to do something different. And then also, would you like to be paid better than you are right now?
I would, yes.
Excellent. So those are goals that you guys can share. And like I said, you can use this process I'm going to teach you for anything, but anything you want to transition to something better. So the biggest step that we need to do in this process is collect what I call the suboptimal aspects of your current position or your current home or your current boyfriend or whatever it is you want to use. So Claudette, what we're going to discuss, and Claudette did a little prep for me to work on this, and she wrote out a little list for herself. And I say when you can find 3 to 5, you always want to have at least 3 to 5 aspects that you did not like about your current situation. So Claudette and I are going to brainstorm a tiny bit here about part of her list. And while we're doing that, I want you guys to multitask and you jot down, what is it that you're wanting to transition? Let's say you're wanting, well, maybe you're in the middle of a divorce. You could be, and so you might be thinking of your, 2 things could come out of that. One, your ideal living situation. If you're right now not pleased about how your split is impacting your living situation, then suboptimal would be what you're living with right now, and that's a good place to start from. Another thing is about just the stress of like perhaps the separation and the divorce is really weighing on you. So you might want to make a suboptimal list of your current mood or your current feelings. So you can do it for anything. But meanwhile, 3 to 5 minimum, okay? And that's why, as Claudette, this is an ongoing process. It's not, you're not going to learn it all here in this 20 minutes. You can continue it. You do want to get 3 to 5 things that bother you about your current situation. You don't want to write a paragraph. You just want a phrase or very short sentence, 3 to 5 minimum. And so did you have a hard time writing the list, Claudette?
No, not really. No.
And how many?
Because
go ahead.
No, because there are things that I come in contact with quite often, so it was easy to pull them forward.
Excellent, good. And how many items did you come up with?
About 12.
And was it easy to come up with 12, or did you find yourself stretching at the end?
It took some thought after maybe 4 or 5.
Excellent, good. Thank you for saying that, because in my experience with this process, it's identical. At first, you come up 2 or 3 things that are the things you really hate about the position. These are things that bug you the most, and those will pop right away. But then, especially for you, Claudette, because you were there 10 years, right? Or you had so far 10 whole years. That's a long time. So it wouldn't make logical sense there would only be 3 things that bugged you.
Yes.
Right. And so part of what I like to teach about energy when I meet people who are stuck, where you've just been waiting, you've been waiting to be noticed at work, for example. Claudette's a kind of a quieter personality, and I don't know, but maybe she was hoping they would notice and, raise her and give her more, and that didn't happen. So she might have to think she has to go out of her comfort zone. to get something. My dogs are playing here. Can you hear them? They're playing. That's lovely of you guys. No, but playfulness. Where's the message? Okay, who out there needs to get the playful message besides me? That's a good one, Claudette, right? The playful message?
Yes.
It is.
It's true.
Okay. So now the fact that she got 12 is just wonderful. It's a great example of if you take a few days and don't rush this process, you're going to get a richer result. So for today, though, Claudette, you have 13 on. Oh, you must have added one that you didn't notice. You had 13 on the list you sent me, and so we're only going to work on maybe 2 right now because we can continue this at our later point in in one of our sessions. And I really want y'all to be able to do this at home and be able to work this at home. So Claudette, can you just pick 2, and let's not pick any of the totally, really intense ones, somewhere in the middle. And I would like to have you pick things that are shorter, so not longer statements. Just pick 2 of your ideas, and then we'll work on those 2, whatever 2 you select. Let me know. Let me know when you picked your 2.
Okay.
Excellent. All right. So would you like to tell everybody what your profession is? I feel like I'm a game show host when I'm doing this, when I say things like this, but do you want to tell the folks what your profession is?
So I am a nurse manager, and I lead a team.
Okay. Excellent. Great. And how long have you been in the nursing profession?
I've been a nurse over 20 years.
All right. So there you have, again, it's cool to let everybody know what the flavor of that is so that they can understand this process, because if you only were a nurse for 2 years, it would have a different flavor. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Just a tiny bit of background. One of the things that we've been learning together in the Invisible Money Game is how to not overplay the negatives or to talk too much about what's not working out. That comes from a lot of manifesting books. And so you'll hear Claudette hesitate sometimes because we are learning that. How do we talk about things? We don't want to be complainers, right? Who likes a whiner? Raise their hand. Right? True, Claudette?
No.
Right.
And
Claudette.
Whiners are not good.
No.
It's hard to deal with whiners, yes.
Yes. And so we don't want to be that. And so that can cause us to get blocked, right? Because how do we talk about something in a constructive way that we need help with? And get this, write this one down. This is a good one. A complaint is just an unexpressed request. Isn't that good? What do you think about that one, Claudette? Let me say it again. A complaint is just an unexpressed request.
That's a good one. Yeah. Yes.
So we have to have courage to complain properly, so that we're heard. And that's what this worksheet is for. So what are the 2 things? Now, she has 13, you guys, which I'm like standing O. Standing O. Woohoo! I love it. You could have 30, honestly. Once you start getting into it, you just think of every annoying person you've ever had to work with and what did they do, right? And all of a sudden, it's like 100. I started to say about energy. When you guys start working on this, that when your energy is stuck, you can just feel vague. Like you can say, well, I'm upset, but you don't know specifically why. And even here, Claudette is wanting to have an improved position, but if she only has 3 things that are not satisfactory, that's not really enough to build a fire. You need to have a lot of separate ideas, like kindling, to get this passion lit up. Because if it is in her core, and it's to her highest good, and it's her core purpose to do something with her former training that's exciting enough to make her passionate, it's great to find that out. Right, Claudette?
Yes.
That's all this process is for. Yeah, that's all it's for, is to see. Because when you do the process, guess what? You might do it and like, you know what, I don't really want to do that. I've had that happen. People say, well, I don't want to do that. I said, great. clarity is a miracle. It really is. It's a relief. But I know Claudette has passion for her profession at this point. She's not ready to bail. And so that's what this is for. So, Claudette, what are 2 of the 13 areas that you want to work on today that are what some of us call pet peeves, or things that bug you about your current position? And I'm going to do this with you. So read that for me first.
All right, so the first one is having to be politically correct when that is not how I truly feel.
Political correctness. All right. Okay, so now in order to play this game with us, with me and Claudette, you need to take a piece of paper, and I like to put the paper horizontal in front of me, and I always use just a 3-hole notebook is what I always make my notes in, but you can use anything you want. You can do this on your keyboard if you want. It's just not as pretty. But we're going to draw a 3-column chart. Okay, you need 3 columns, and the column to the left is called suboptimal. And so these are suboptimal, political correctness, when you just don't agree. And that's really tough. It's really tough when you have to bite your own feelings back to be at work. You know, when you're in your private life, you can have your opinion, right, Claudette?
Yes.
It's killer when you have to be at work and it almost feels fake, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Does it annoy you when you have to play that game?
It does, because I don't feel like I am expressing truly who I am and how I feel.
See, and then how frustrating is that for you, or how annoying? Scale of 1 to 10. And when I ask this, the 1 is flat. It's like 0 energy, like sound asleep. There's no charge on it at all. And 10 is just gets on your last nerve, because you have to think Claudette's been in this profession a long time, with the company for 10 years. And this is one of the 13 items. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how much intensity is there for you on this one for a suboptimal?
I would say 8.
Yes. Okay, good. That's good. That's good energy for us to work with. And then so you'll want to write that on your suboptimal. Same with you guys. Write down your thing. What's the number 1 thing right now pops in your head, what you don't like about your current situation. And then number 2. What's number 2?
Number 2 is staff making life-threatening errors that could be avoided. Yeah.
Staff making life-threatening errors. And it's like in tennis, there's unforced errors, right? Totally unnecessary errors. And for you to have to witness that. And how stressful is that for you on a scale of 1 to 10?
And that's 10.
Yeah. And couldn't you guys hear it?
10.
Now that's where I do when people need, if you can't manifest what you're wanting, really you just feel stuck and frustrated, one of the things I can do is I can tell in how you talk about your ideas where your energy is. And it's not that hard. You guys could do it too. But if you listen to this, the way Claudette talked about the political correctness, when she talked about this issue, you could hear a difference. It's an intensity. You could hear it. So the passion, the flavoring of that second suboptimal felt and sounded different, which is good. It's not that there's right or wrong to any of this. It's just there's so many textures to it. And so now we're going to use these 2 to work on, Claudette. So wouldn't it be nice, and I love that phrase, wouldn't it be nice? Write that one down, please. Wouldn't it be nice? There's a few phrases that I call magic words, because if you say them, they soften whatever comes after it. So wouldn't it be nice if your new position solves those 2 problems, Claudette?
It would. It would be fantastic.
See how the wouldn't it be nice just like is an opening phrase. It makes you, and then how nice would it be on a scale of 1 to 10?
It would be a 10.
Okay, so that's the energy we're throwing into this. But the reality is this has been 10 years of this other. So you can see how in Claudette now there would be a tug of war between what she's wanting and what she's not getting. Could you hear it? And Claudette, I hope you'll listen to this. It's weird to listen to your own voice. Me too. I go, ah, ah. But the thing is, you can hear in your own energy, though, when you talk about that staff making those mistakes. And then the wouldn't it be nice energy that was like, ooh. So that's what we're wanting, to really start changing how we're thinking, baby steps at a time. So let's look at our chart. Go far to the right now. We have 2 empty columns, and we want to go to the far right. Now that's what I call our ideal, okay? So write down ideal at the top. And this is where the dream is created, because you could tell the difference now as you hear what I call the energy of Claudette's voice, and you can kind of hear it shifting through this process if you tune in. So now, Claudette, this is really pretty easy, because the ideal is usually the exact opposite, okay? So what you'll do now is, in your imaginary job that's perfection, what would you express as the ideal situation for you? What would be the opposite in a work in this opposite of the needing to be politically correct when you don't agree? What would solve that for you?
So I would be able to express myself without restrictions.
Okay, all right. Let's write that down. Express self. Okay, so on your ideal, express self without restrictions. Excellent. And I'm going to let that one go, because I feel like that's a good expression. And also, could you hear in the tone of her voice, there was just like authority. Sometimes when we're not sure, can ask things like with a question at the end, like this, But when you're sure of something, you're like, express myself without restrictions, and then the voice goes down. And so that's a confident desire, okay? And then what about number 2? What would solve that for you? If you were, what would be your opposite? The staff making unnecessary life-threatening errors. What would be the solution?
The solution would be that they would refrain from taking shortcuts.
Okay, so that better staffing, right? Would be yes. Like they would hire, because it could be either bad training or not the right people for the job. Because if you're passionate about what you do, I'm just. And again,
sometimes I believe. I'm sorry. Sometimes I believe rushing and not really paying attention, not checking medications as they should. There are certain things that need to be done before you give a medicine, and if they implemented those things, then there wouldn't be medication errors.
That's very well expressed. And so what it says to me is that it seems like the staff that you would be working with in your new position would be better trained and more responsible. True?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Is that a way of putting it? Because and not to put words in your mouth, but part of it is to phrase things out of the mistake language and into the solution language. Can you feel the difference in that?
Yes.
So, but I have another thing too, Claudette. The first ideal might be that you simply work with more responsible staff. True? That would be ideal? Right, okay. With more responsible staff. And I feel like what you're not saying that I hear is more people like yourself, because you are responsible. That's not a ego thing. That's like the shared passion for correctness. Does that feel good?
Yes.
Shared passion for correctness?
It does.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. And it's okay to want to have that shared passion for correctness. But there's another thing. Do you like working with a team, or would you prefer a position where you were just totally independent and didn't have to depend on anybody?
Well, at this point, I would love to not be working with a team.
Well, and could that fit? And I don't know. You have to help me here, because it might not solve the problem, but is that part of your ideal, to be removed from some of the problem people? Or will that always be a part of your profession? Because that I don't know.
Well, I am looking to go in a different direction because I have gone back. I have gone back to school, studied, and would like to implement the new learning in a different area that does not involve managing teams, but working mostly with data.
Excellent. So see what I mean, how there's two ideals here. So the first ideal, working with more responsible people, is not as important as the other, which is the ideal of being released from being responsible for the mistakes of others by the type of position. Does that resonate?
Yes.
Okay, let's put that down. So the ideal would be, and again, it expresses the new position. The ideal would be to be more independent and out of management. Okay, and I'm watching my time because I'm glad we're only doing 2. And you can imagine, to do look at the time we're taking. Why do this? Because then you really build a fire. These are this really can help you when you look at what's dissatisfying you and really look at what will make it better and think about how long it takes. It's good for us because we're thinking, oh, I want it to change and I don't like this job, blah, 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 blah. I have a bad boyfriend and I have this, I have that. But you don't even take the time to figure out what you want. And to me, I love that. What do you think, Claudette? What's your feeling on that?
That is true. That is true because I don't think about what I want it to look like. I am only thinking about what it looks like now and what I'm dissatisfied with.
And trying to escape
so you are
from,
right.
which is good. Yeah. Well, and it's like the idea, it's always about these ideas. That's what it's all about. Because when I'm a problem solver, there was a show called MacGyver once back in time, and MacGyver could fix anything with a paperclip, and I feel like that as a manifesting teacher because there's a way to get around. If you're not getting what you want, there's a way. So now, notice we have a gap in the middle. Did you notice that, Claudette? Do you have a gap in the middle of your chart, 2 columns and 1 in the middle?
Yes.
Yes. Well, this is called optimal. So let's write optimal. And then part of you goes, wait, this isn't fair. Wait a minute. I want the ideal. What do you mean optimal? Why do we have to fill that in? Okay. The reason is because honestly, what I've learned over time is that what I think I want is often what is not what I get, but I feel great about it. And Abraham says we don't want anything if it's not for the reason that we think we're going to be happier when we get it. Okay, let me say that again. We don't want to manifest anything unless the reason is when we get it, we think we will be happier. So let's do that test with Claudette. Claudette, you're being such a wonderful volunteer. Big hug to you. But what would you say? Is that true for you, that if this manifested, you would be happier?
Yes.
Yeah, it's just a simple, common truth. And we all have it in common. So whether you're wanting to manifest a new job or a new husband or a divorce or whatever it is you're wanting to manifest, the reality is that you try hard to get it because you think happiness is with it. And there's no problem with that. That we're, as you know from Pam Grout's work, be happy, have fun, be lighthearted. So yes, well, let's go for happiness. But the reality is that it might not come tomorrow. And if that's the truth, I believe Uni or the divine, whatever it is that's your guide, will fill your heart and your time with things to keep you busy. Just like a garden, stuff has to grow. You don't plant the seed and then run out and eat the ear of corn. That's what we need to do, is find out how to spend the time in between. So, Claudette, we are first one, political correctness, especially when you have to say things or agree with things or hear things that you don't agree with. Very troublesome. It's an 8. And if you were able to express yourself 100% without restrictions, how good would that feel? Scale of 1 to 10.
It would feel great. It would be a 10.
Exactly. Very good. So now, what are some ideas for some things that could actually happen that would be in between, on the way? And let me give you an example. When I was going through something with my own child, and my frustration is when I call or text, when I call they don't answer, and when I text they don't get back to me. Now, anybody has adult children, you may be able to know what I mean. And I was just so frustrated because come on, just answer me back. I know you see I called. Come on. So I was frustrated, and I wrote my list, and it was like they never call, never call blah, blah, blah. They never respond when I message or call them. So my ideal was that the minute I call, they don't have to answer, but I want a response. So my perfect thing is the minute I text, they would text me back like one of their friends. Oh, hi, right? Well, that's ridiculous. I knew it was, but it was my ideal. So what I came up with was, in my optimal, was if they got back to me within 24 hours. That would be good. So see, I got a little something, and I also denied. I said no to something to myself. Now, why is it important to say no to yourself? What do you think, Claudette? What comes up when you think about that? Why it would be important to just say no right now to a 10 of desire? What do you think?
Because not all our desires are for our highest good.
Good point. Good point. And there's stuff we don't know. I did not predict I would be living in Mexico. I did not. I am happy, so happy. And I wanted to manifest lots of different things across the last 20 years of manifesting. And all of them did make me happy. The stuff makes you happy in life, but it may not be exactly what you want to manifest. Do you find that a little confusing, Claudette?
I do.
So do I. So we're sisters, because I don't get it either. I always tell people I'm just a grandmother from Indiana. I'm a good teacher, but that, everybody has their experiences. So what do you think? What would be one idea of a scenario that you would feel more comfortable with? Do you have something in your mind? I have an idea that popped to my mind. Or do you have a sense of what you think?
Let's hear yours.
Okay, what I thought was this would matter to me, that a superior, if I could use that word, it's across, types of jobs, that a superior person would be aware of my sensitivity and be thoughtful of it.
Yes.
That's just the first thing that comes to me, right? So that if somebody that's an authority over me would realize, wow, this is what would you call it, a hot item for this person, and then either gesture or just make some sort of approach, like later in the day say, wow, that must have been tough for you to be in that dialogue. Would that be something
because we don't have to all agree on every item. We can disagree but still agree.
Excellent. So let's put that down. Okay. So to have a situation, and you guys can hear like we're brainstorming this. You guys could brainstorm this with a friend. This is just fun to talk it through. So the situation would be where I would be comfortable with a differing opinion. How does that feel, Claudette?
Yes.
Is that a step along? Now, I'm kind of rushing. Y'all are hearing I'm rushing. But see what I mean, though? So a situation where be comfortable with a different opinion or outlook. Okay, so what we have is we go from when you're just feeling that 8 of tension, just being involved where there's no sensitivity to what you're going through. The ideal would be you're totally free to express yourself. And then in the middle, that you would be able to be comfortable with a different opinion and just feel accepted for that. So there's really 3 different energy types here. Would you say, Claudette, can you feel it?
Yes.
Interesting process, isn't it?
And now talking about it makes, yes.
Go ahead, please. Talking about it.
No, I said being able to talk about it shows me the different scenarios that I didn't really think about before.
Yeah. And again, what I like to compare to, it's just to be able, I see it like separating strands, like combing through long mermaid hair that's all tangled up, and you spray that stuff on there and then you comb it through, and all these strands of ideas just separate. And then there's power in that. You know, like a streamer, then outside you have one of those wind streamers. That's maybe better than the mermaid. But I always feel these strands that need to get straightened out, and that then your confidence comes, because you have every right to want a position that does these things for you, don't you, Claudette? You're not asking for anything. Exactly right. And I can hear it in your voice too. So quickly on closing here, let's look at the independent, the free of management, to be in that different world where you're completely not impacted by the behavior of other employees. That would be really nice. Is it reasonable, right? So what would be an in-between for you where around incompetent employees? So we have incompetent employees on the one side, just that's a 10. It's life-threatening. Now, what would be something in the middle between not having to deal with incompetent employees and totally being independent, like a self-unit where, you know, like entrepreneur, where you work for yourself with no team at all? What could that be? And you know what? That might be a good place not to fill anything in. And leave a mystery, because it's true. And I like that you're thoughtful about it, right, Claudia? I mean, it's good. Don't you think it's good just to think about it?
Yes.
Without having to hurry?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
And what would be the benefit of just spending time thinking about the fact that you don't have an easy answer for that right now?
Yes, so it would give me an opportunity to explore many ideas where that is concerned before I have to come up with an answer.
And then is this beneficial, do you think, to you in this time while you're waiting to hear about interviews and, you know, considering when's the new job coming and all the stuff that might be in your mind instead, right?
Yes.
And what kind of benefit do you think it is to have this kind of process for you? Because you know your own mind, and you and I have been working together for a while now. So do you feel like this is a forward-moving process that you can do independently?
Yes, yes.
And the benefit would be?
The benefit would be not concentrating so much on what I think it should look like, but having an opportunity to explore other ideas.
Good. And also, I think too, is exploring how they make you feel, and by that, you just will rank things from 1 to 10, because that's the other part of understanding how intensely you desire how intensely you dislike something. So suboptimal, right up at the top of it, dislike. Okay, I'm just going to summarize here, because it's really important for manifesting people, for people that consider themselves positive thinkers, for people that don't want to be whiners, all of those people, myself included, we cannot eliminate things we dislike. If you try to be so positive that you don't dislike things, if you can't, it doesn't work. It jams up the system. So these dislikes, be really honest with yourself and rank them from 1 to 10, how much they bug you. And isn't it interesting, Claudette, that they didn't all bug you at a 10, did they?
No.
It's good, isn't it? Because sometimes you just put the whole job and the whole husband or the whole everything. It's like, yeah, they're all, yeah. Well, no, they're not. There's parts that aren't so bad. So anyway, okay, and then the other side, the ideal, and then you let yourself, how much do you really want that? How much does it matter? So for you, Claudette, by the time you do your 13 items, you might find that some of them, if it happened, it's a 3, I don't care. And then you're getting to know yourself, and you're getting to know what it does matter. And then your optimal list becomes golden. It feels good. It feels happy. And that's what Pam Grout, Abraham, what they all teach, is that idea of finding alignment, finding peace of mind, having fun, but that will always be optimal for you. Ideal is always what we're reaching for on our way, to whatever uni's calling us to, but we want to live in optimal. Okay, so any questions, Claudette?
No, not so far.
Excelente. I'm just going to open up the call here. If there's anybody that has any questions or comments about this process, please, this is the time. You can go ahead and speak up. I've got everybody unmuted. Okay, so a couple things. Number one, if you do feel that this is a process that you'd like to work through with me, or I'm absolutely happy to talk to you about that. It's something that I provide for people as part of the work I do. It's one of the one-on-one processes. It's not the same as jumping in on any sort of long-term project with me. These are just simple phone calls. They're like an hour, hour and a half where we sit down together and work out some really good intentions. And I love doing that, something really fun for me. So if it's something that you're interested in, you can email me at invisiblemoneygame@gmail.com, and we can talk about that potential. But Claudette, thank you so much for stepping up and being my volunteer. And it means a lot, because as you listen and as people listen to these calls, you can hear people's confidence go up and down depending on how sure they are about what we're doing. And also when people do talk about what they want and its core desire and their passion, you can feel it. Their voice gets a little stronger. Often the voice drops in tone a little bit, like drops down, and they just sound the sound of a desire that's really passion and core level. You can feel it with them. And I think we can be pals to each other and be manifesting buddies. That would be my goal, that my people would go out there and find a buddy where they could talk these. You can do this process with anybody. So that would be my challenge to Claudette. And sometimes we don't have manifesting sisters and brothers because we're quiet about that. Maybe somebody in the Invisible Money Game would like to step up and be a partner. There's all kinds of ways to play. So thank you so much, you guys, for listening. This video is going to be on YouTube. This audio is going to be on YouTube, because that's what's happening around me. And so when you hit the little thumbs up, it'll let other people who want to know how to manifest faster, it'll bring them into the party, because that's how YouTube works. So thank you for your support, your sharing, and your love, and I look forward to next Saturday. And I will someday figure out how to make these trainings 30 minutes. Thank you for your patience. Bye. Thanks, Claudette.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.